Four more matches of the Saturday morning session. A warm welcome back from George Riley. We're live at the Lemon Tree, Aberdeen, on Freesports TV. Real festive feast of Taom Shootout pool. And we've just seen another masterclass from the magician, Chris Melling, beating Alan Dixon 4-1. Very fluent today, and he is through unbeaten. Not 100%. Did manage a draw, but he's through to tonight's quarterfinals, and Chris will join me in commentary for this one. Dennis Taylor and George Tierney in the same group. In fact, Dennis is probably the one man who should have beaten you, Chris, so far, I would say.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't in the easiest group, and Dennis played really well last night. I didn't have one chance for the first two games, and the only way I could really get back into the game was tie the game up, a little bit of safety. Obviously Dennis not playing a great deal of pool. I just believed that once I tied the game up that I'd win the game.
And it's so funny, isn't it? I've known Dennis for years, working as I have on the World Snooker Circuit, and obviously he's come and played pool. You say he doesn't play much pool. It's a bit of fun. He's enjoying the atmosphere. He's a champion. He's a winner. And every time he missed, he was fuming with himself, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, being a former world champion at snooker and won a few other titles, you know, he's a born winner, and that's what you need. You need the mentality not to want to get beat by anybody. And he was certainly trying his best to beat me.
How have you found it out there? Obviously, you've come through. You've booked your place in tonight's quarterfinals, so many congratulations. How have you found the setup and the first taste, if you like, of this Taom Shootout event? Yeah,
really good. Really enjoyed it. The table's playing a little bit slow, but that's just because the cushions are new. They always play slow on any table when they're brand new. But it's just a matter of getting used to it. You have to change your game a little, but you know we've had a couple of days to get used to it, so there's no excuses.
And that result, your victory over Alan Dixon, actually is probably the result, looking at the group, that everyone else would have been hoping for, to see you through, because it just about keeps everyone, albeit Dennis's played two, lost two, keeps everyone's interest alive just about.
Yeah, and if that match had been a 2-2 or a 3-3 draw, then I think we'd have both got through.
Yeah, I think you're both through, aren't you? So here we are. Been looking forward to this one, actually. The big fella, the real number one, George Tierney. Great player when he's in the mood, and we saw glimpses of Dennis's class against you last night. You would make George the favourite here, would you?
Yeah, you'd have to put George favourite just because he's a pool player, and he's a lot better than what people think he is. You know, he goes under the radar. He plays a lot of money matches, and he's a very, very capable player.
He tends to thrive as well in kind of sitting there silently, the real number one, as he calls himself. He likes, I get the impression he likes people just to give him a bit of niggle. He thrives off that.
Yeah, you know, in all seriousness, he's probably the best pool player at marketing himself. You know, he's whether that be good or bad, you know, he's always having a joke and a laugh. But I mean, I've known George a few years, and we have a joke on Facebook and social media, but he's a really nice guy. You know, and he's got a great cue action, which helps under pressure.
A very fluent start. While we've been talking, while we've been chatting, he's on the boards. Food for thought for Dennis, who trails 1-0. There he is.
Yeah, Dennis had a chance there. He just imparted a little bit too much left-hand side on his second to last yellow, which caused the yellow to throw off to the right. But George will be looking to get a big break here.
Is there any aspect that you've had to, I was going to use the word struggle, but I don't think you struggle with anything in this game, but adapt to in the format of this event so far?
You've just got to get off to a good start. That's the key. You know, obviously it's race to 4. There's a shot clock, so if you can get 2 in front, you can take your time a little bit. You know, but I mean, personally, I just try and play the same way that I always play, whether there be a shot clock or not. You know, obviously you do have to speed your game up a little bit, but I'm a fast player anyway, so...
So the shot clock shouldn't really come into the equation. You shouldn't need to be mentally counting if you know how fast you play. I guess the key is knowing as you step to the table what your shot is, what your route is down to the black, because there is no time to work it out as you're going.
Yeah, you have to, when I play, try and work out the whole pattern, and sometimes it doesn't always go to plan, but if you saw in the last rack there, I saw the pattern within probably 3 seconds. So that gave me 12 seconds to think about what I was doing. But that last shot there, what George played, he missed that by a country mile, and that still dropped in.
Yeah, he did. And he's fine, and he's back amongst them. And Dennis is rooted in his seat already.
Yeah, he's going to try and cover the pocket here, I believe, unless the red goes off the back of the yellow. The only problem is he might tie the black up. Ooh, that's not a good shot. The yellow goes off the red now for Dennis. Not an easy first shot, though.
How often is that shot to cover the pocket a last resort, or do you often use it as a tactical ploy?
No, I never use it.
No, I was going to say.
I only used it last night against Dennis because I thought, obviously, he doesn't play a lot of pool. And I just thought if it becomes tactical, then I'm certainly going to get the better of him. Obviously, potting the balls, I believe I'm a better potter. But, I mean, Dennis, he started off really well against me. And he's not played bad against anybody, you know. It's just a lack of knowledge of pool, that's all that is.
Yeah, well, the point we were making in commentary, myself and Simon watching Dennis yesterday, was, and it's interesting actually, as a snooker player who are renowned, even more than yourselves as pool players, of thinking ahead, thinking so far ahead in the frame. Dennis is literally, right, which ball can I pot? I'll pot it. And then which ball can I pot next? I'll pot it. And that was the way he's been playing.
Yeah, and what catches the snooker players out is the light cue ball. That's a great shot there by George.
The light cue ball.
Yeah, the cue ball's light, so what happens is when you're playing with topspin, the cue ball will throw wide, and when you play with screw back, the cue ball comes back faster, and especially on this cloth, because it's so responsive.
See, I'm getting an education as well as a very, very amateur pool and snooker player. George is setting about his business very nicely here. Race to 4, remember, and he's already going to be halfway there. Making short shrift of Dennis Taylor this morning. And George Tierney is feeling it. The real number 1 is already 2 clear at 2-0 in a race to 4.
And his own personal songs come on, Benny Hill. Just waiting for George to start tapping himself on the head.
Going to say, a couple of the more messy matches we saw yesterday, we could have added this soundtrack to. We've had a real treat in some of the matches we've seen today, a couple of them less so when both players have struggled.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's also important to see people miss. You know, everybody wants to see the edgy shots, and you can miss the easiest of shots, which I've missed a couple, and I'm sure everybody else has. But George has played perfect so far in this game.
Yep, 7.5 minutes, 2 frames to the good, so it's Dennis's break.
And that was very unlucky not to pot a ball. But these haven't come out easy. There's a red tide at the top of the table, which I've spotted. And the reds are the easier balls of the two.
Would you have to teach a snooker player how to break at pool?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, snooker players are used to keeping the head still on the shot, which you need to do anyway at pool. But you need to get as much power into the cue ball as possible while controlling it. Which obviously a lot of snooker players don't hit the ball hard. It's all caressing the cue ball.
No, the snooker break off is just hitting that kind of second to last ball and sweeping the white back behind the balk line. Completely different in this game.
And George has just fouled. I mean, I'm very, very surprised he's played that shot, to be honest. I know he's trying to slow the game down and obviously tie the balls up. He thought it rolled off a little bit, but it was still he still didn't need to hit it that thin.
Foul called by our referee, Donna Evans. Donna and Matt Clark, our 2 officials over the Taom Shootout Grand Final weekend, doing a terrific job. A couple of big calls from Donna yesterday, got them both absolutely spot on. The one, I don't know if you saw it, when Patty McCarron picked the white ball up to get the game back underway, and it was still rolling. She quite rightly called it. It was his error.
Yeah, it's cruel, but it is the rules, and you shouldn't be touching the balls while the balls are moving. So anybody watching at home, don't touch the cue ball or any object ball until everything's stopped moving.
It's arguably harder for the referee to make that call because you know what the reaction's going to be. It would be easier just to let it go. It's like, it's not harming anyone. Absolutely the right call.
Yeah, and Dennis has missed a trick here. He had cue ball in hand with a free shot, and his first shot should have been to play the 8 ball onto the red over the pocket to free the 8 ball, and that in turn would have freed his yellow into that same corner. George will be very happy here.
Yeah, that's Dennis not really knowing the nuances of the game, I think. Head down and play from Taylor.
Yeah, and this could throw everything into the mix in this group. Obviously, I've got through, so I'll be seeded number 1. Yeah. And second place is up for grabs, because if George can win this match 4-0 or 4-1...
yeah. And
then it's going to go to the last match.
Well, he'd only be 1 point anyway behind Alan Dixon. Before 3 against 4, wouldn't it? With a decent frame record.
Yeah, George will be on 3 points, so he'll have to beat Alan. But it's going to come down to the last match, I think.
Well, Dennis playing to move that yellow, but he'll take that positional shot.
He's had a right result there, because he can smash straight into this 8-ball or the yellow and bring everything out. He needs a lot of luck here, but it's possible.
Just like you played it, Dennis. Here we go.
Oh, that's very unlucky. He's got a shot, though. He can play the double.
Yeah, that's a legal shot in this format of pool, but it's not really helped him, has it?
No, he's going to need a miracle here. He's got to fluke the yellow, basically.
No, never really fancied that, I don't think.
No, and what we're going to see George do here is probably just push both his reds out into the open.
And this is the difference between one of the top pool players in George Tierney and a non-pool player in Dennis Taylor. In previous, when he had ball in hand, as you called it, didn't really know what to do. George now knows how to maximise this situation.
Yeah, well, that's a terrible shot what George has just played there, because now he's got to move this. He could have moved both reds in one shot there, and he could have even moved the yellow away slightly.
Can he pot his way out of trouble?
Well, now he's give Dennis a chance, and there's absolutely no reason that he had to play that shot. He's complaining, saying the table's rolled off a little bit, but it's the wrong shot what he's played, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it wasn't the table that played the shot, was it?
There's a lot of excuses going in the pool world, I know that. I know George mentioned in a post on Facebook that he struggles with concentration over a long distance. So obviously this is a quick fire match, so his concentration should be there. And again, he's played a poor shot there. He should be coming down the table to leave both reds into the top right-hand corner. It's not going to be an easy shot to get from the bottom red onto the 8-ball. He should have been getting rid of that red quite some time ago if he was going for the clearance.
Where's he going to leave the cue ball? Oh, shake of the head, scratch of the head.
Well, he's got two options here. He can either roll the red in and tuck him up behind the 8-ball, and then he's basically won the frame if he does that, or he can screw off the side cushion back out, but it could go wrong.
He's gone for the screw. He's played
shot.
it nice.
Yeah, really good shot that was. Could have gone wrong. Looks like George Tierney is going to take a 3-0 lead.
No mistake at all. He might have gone about it in a roundabout, round the houses route. But if you're potting balls like that, it doesn't really matter because they all sink. And George Tierney, 3 frames to the good against Dennis Taylor, whose first taste of Taom Shootout pool looks already like it's coming to an end.
Yeah, Dennis has been a great character and a great addition to the Taom Shootout. He's laughing and joking with everybody, signing everybody's autographs, taking pictures, a true professional.
Yeah, he loves the experience, otherwise he wouldn't be here over Christmas, giving up a couple of days of his time to play knockout pool. But it looks like this match and his tournament is coming to an end.
Yeah, I think that's Dennis's event over with.
He will have one more group match. I think he's on late this afternoon, I beg your pardon, against Liam Dunster, who himself has struggled, surprisingly, for Liam after the season he's had. Current world number 1, of course.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if he's world number 1. I think Mick Hill might have to say something about that. But I think he's up there on the rankings. I'm not exactly sure because I'm not involved with the 8-ball pool a great deal. I know he's a great player, that's for sure. But I have noticed a couple of times now the referees are struggling to get the balls touching on the break. If you notice, there was 3 balls that stuck together near the 8-ball.
Simon actually mentioned that last night in commentary, questioned whether there was after a few bad splits on the break, whether there was an issue.
Yeah, well, what happens is the more people break, you get indentations under the front ball because that's the contact ball with the cue ball. So what happens is it indents the slate bed and the well, not really a slate bed, but more the cloth. And when you try to wrap the balls will roll off into that spot. And then when you break, the front ball is actually lower than the second two balls, so they'll never split properly.
It's almost more like Skittles than a pull triangle.
And that's a bad shot from George.
He'll pot his way out of it. He always does.
Yeah, he's got a good opportunity to pot this red into the top right hand corner. Not an easy shot. And if you're under pressure, very missable. Great shot there.
Yeah, he's so smooth, isn't he?
Yeah, and it was very important that he overhit that shot, because if he underhit the shot, he's only on one red, where here he's on the corner red, just roll it in for the red in the centre pocket. And it looks like it's going to be 4-0.
Yeah, that'll really boost his chances, George, in this group. Not been given much of a chance here, Dennis. Had the odd opportunity, which he's not managed to take. But this has been pretty flawless from George Tierney, the real number one. With 4 minutes to spare, there's the handshake. And George Tierney breathes life into his challenging group to Chris Melling, the man alongside me, already through. But then it's anyone's guess. Tierney moves on to 3 points. Alan Dixon's on 4. Liam Dunster still harbouring some hopes, but looking increasingly unlikely on 2. We've still got 3 matches to go this session. Next up after the break, Fraser Allen against Darren Matthew. That comes in just a few minutes' time.
Yeah, he's pretty good with any form of the game. Tried his hand at snooker for a while, but he does have that sort of cue action, doesn't he? Very long and really nice.
That's a nice shot there from now that. Yeah, the black ball there is going to be a bit tricky. Don't know what he can do with this. He can't see enough of it.
4 shots ahead and in that sort of way, but in the pool, these tops gone wrong. Decided to play into it. Felt he couldn't hold and snookered himself on the black.